going to give it a couple minutes because we are fixing one, we're waiting for everyone to join, but we're also fixing a technical thing where we want people to join in the Discord. We have an audience there and we're just waiting to fix that technically. So once that is there, we are underway. So just bear with us a minute or two as we are waiting, to get that kicked off. Okay, for those who have joined on other platforms, just bear with us while we get this working on the Discord. Most of the folks, most of our regulars join in the Discord where they can send us messages. Apologies, we are still waiting for the to get the streaming working on Discord, and hopefully we should have that done in a second. Okay, apologies, folks. We're still waiting for things to get started here.
We are live.
On Discord?
Yeah.
I don't see it in my Discord. Are we sure? Because I see Sadia is on the stage with nothing. If people can see it, comment in the Discord, because it is not working. Okay. Apologies, we're having lovely technical difficulties. And apologies, we should be good to go in just a moment.
Why don't we send the links to X, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever we're streaming on the Discord, so folks there can join. Perfect.
Guys, we need better tech for Palestine.
I was just thinking about that. The yes, tech for Palestine. I mean, I think if anyone, no one has ever figured out how to get screen share working and sound and audio and printers. It's all, I think if Tech for Palestine solved that, it would be a dramatic increase in the quality of life for everyone. I'm pleased to know it's not just me. Okay, is that the plan? We're moving it to YouTube?
Yeah, I don't think that it's going to work on Discord, is what I read.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess we are doing it on YouTube, and we'll just give a minute for the Discorders to pop on over to YouTube. Apologies for that.
Yeah, and if there's a reason for people that they can't do YouTube, then they can also search for Tech for Palestine on LinkedIn or X. The streams are working there as well.
Okay, great. Meanwhile, folks, if you want to ask questions in the Discord, we are still paying attention to that, and so we'll still be following what you say on the Discord. So thanks everyone. Apologies for the thing. And we'll just give it 30 more seconds for everyone to get the stream loaded, and then we are good to go. All right, well, that wasn't 30 seconds, but I think there's people waiting. So we have the slides up. Wonderful. So thank you everyone for coming to what is, I think, nearly we are 2 years in now, and have been doing monthly calls for all of it. So we are well into the 20s, maybe 30s, because we used to do it weekly. But thank you everyone for staying with Tech for Palestine over all this time. There's a lot going on this year. We're really excited about. We're really excited to introduce you to what's happening this year, and to really focus on and get everyone taking part in what's happening with Tech for Palestine. So Tech for Palestine, for those who are new to us, Tech for Palestine is essentially a group of people coming together to liberate Palestine through means of technology and through affecting the tech industry. And one of the main things we do is that we have the Tech for Palestine incubator. The Tech for Palestine incubator is one of our pillars of what we do. And what the incubator does is it helps projects do advocacy for Palestine. And by that, I mean, we help projects get started. We help support them with mentorship, strategic advice, volunteers, some financial support, but that's primarily not it. Marketing support, helping people launch, etc. And really, we're here to grow the movement for Palestine, and in particular, touch on things as well that affect the tech industry and the tech industry's complicity with Palestine. One of the major things we do, of course, is we help volunteers get connected to projects. And Tech for Palestine is a place where, if you're looking to get involved in actually doing work to support Palestine, this is something that you can do. And then we also do community outreach, do public engagement. We do talks. We've started doing a bunch of seminars, a bunch of summits, and our second major summit will be in the Bay Area on the 24th. That's Saturday next week, which we will talk about a little bit later. Okay, so we are going to get started on the actual programming, and I'm going to transition over to Tom to tell you about the incubator.
Great. Thank you, Paul. So the Tech for Palestine incubator, as Paul explained, that is something that we started about 6 months into Tech for Palestine. We initially had a bunch of different projects that were just randomly started by people who joined the Discord. That grew into the hundreds of projects started and very few of them actually making any progress. So we decided about 6 months in that it would be better to be more hands-on and to give more personalized guidance and support to projects to keep people engaged and keep them building and growing. So the idea that we had was to start an incubator. So very similar to any kind of tech incubator, say Y Combinator, for example, in Silicon Valley, except we don't take equity. We just support, projects that are starting up and, as Paul said, need help with strategic advice, marketing, volunteers, etc. Can we go to the next slide? Great. So what we do in the incubator is, we jumped. There must be lag. I swear, tech. So what we do in the incubator is, if you have a project, an advocacy project, anything that you are trying to do to support Palestinian liberation, you can fill out an application to join the incubator. And what we do as an incubator team is we review these applications. We judge mostly whether or not we think that they can have impact at scale. So if that is something that we think is possible and it is something that is focused on the liberation of Palestine, then we will accept the project into the incubator. The first thing that we do in the incubator is we have a strategy call. It's a 1-hour call at this point with Paul, who gives us just a certain amount of strategic advice as to like your very initial planning. What are you doing? Sometimes people completely pivot in that call and decide to do something totally different. Other times it's just strategic modification. And then once you're in the incubator, then we have office hours 6 times a week, which basically every day in alternating time zones, where you can come in and just get one-on-one advice and guidance. Again, from Paul, currently, one day from a team of strategic advisors. We also have a pool of mentors. Many are founders themselves who want to support the movement, and they will offer the same sort of mentorship that we do, but on a more ongoing one-on-one basis. We have monthly workshops and learning resources. We have regular events around the world. And we have project meetups where project leaders can meet each other and find out about each other's work and help each other and all that sort of thing. And we can connect projects with each other and with other people in the ecosystem. So we are connected with many, many, many other organizations within the pro-Palestine ecosystem, from Hemla to, No Azure for Apartheid, and we can facilitate those connections. We could go on to the next slide, please. All right, we currently have 80 projects in the incubator. 44 of those were added in this past year, so that's really great. And we've only lost a very small handful, and that was typically because of personal reasons on the part of the founder. They just weren't able to continue with the project. So these are the icons of a number of the projects. We have Boycat, Newscord, Upscrolled, Apricot, Thora, Find a Protest. These are, you'll see these all over the internets, and these are all projects that either started or came to, either started in Tech for Palestine or came to Tech for Palestine for support. Okay, and there are some broad categories. We don't require that new projects fit in one of these categories. They just tend to. So we have technology and digital tools. We have economic alternatives and BDS, for example, a project to identify alternatives to Israeli products. We have legal and research accountability, arts and cultural expression, education and capacity building, humanitarian and direct support. We have actually a very limited amount of humanitarian and direct support at this point, but we're hoping to really grow that in the future. Research and documentation, and community and cultural platforms. So this is just a graph of the applications that we've received. As you can see, the average is about 20 per month. I'm not sure exactly. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would say we probably accept about 50% of the applications that we review. And that's it. So yeah, it's been a great year for the incubator, and we're pretty excited for the upcoming year. And I will now hand it off to community.
Hey all, happy to be here again to talk about the community updates, some projects that we launched and some campaigns that we did. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thanks. So just to be sure, we are talking here about the 2025 launches. And as Paul already said at the beginning of the community call, we kicked off Tech for Palestine, I think more or less 2 years ago. So if you're missing logos here, it's probably because we've launched them before 2025. But if you look at the project launches last year, it's quite exciting. I mean, I have mixed feelings when I say it's quite exciting because if you think about the purpose, the goals while we are doing this, it's not exciting. But personally, to me, it feels that we are making a difference, that we are having some impact, both when it comes to activists all over the world, and also for Palestinians living in Palestine. So I'm not sure if I have time to go through all of them, but you might have seen Upscrolled, an alternative for Instagram, TikTok, and even for X. Watermelon.info, something that we launched recently. It's basically a marketplace with consumer brands owned by Palestinians living in Palestine or Palestinians outside Palestine. PalChat, a chat GPT for your Palestinian cases. If you're writing a thesis, if you are having a discussion with someone and you want to search for some Palestine-related facts, the WAL add-on is a very important one. It alerts you whenever you are browsing to a website that is tied to Israel. And built with apartheid.com, it basically checks your website if it's running on Israeli infrastructure. Thaura is also a very exciting one. That's a real ChatGPT alternative. So it's different from PalChat because PalChat is really something that you use if you are working on a document or you're writing a book about Palestine or you're having a discussion. But Thaura is really an alternative for all the LLMs out there. So ChatGPT Cloud, you can use it for everything. It's just not tied to the financial ecosystem, the tech ecosystem that is friends with Israel. So it's safe to use this one. And I also said a couple of minutes ago that most of the projects that we launched are for activists, people who have sympathy with Palestine outside Palestine, but some of the projects are also making a difference in Palestine. And an example of that is Arvin Raya. That's a project that we also recently launched, and it helps Palestinians basically to navigate the roads. It tells them where they have Israeli checkpoints, and obviously wherever there are Israeli checkpoints, they have to face things like intimidation and delays, of course. Yeah, so as I said, I cannot go through all of them, but it was a good year when it comes to project launches. And besides launches, we also do a lot of campaigns. Some examples, that's a campaign about a report that we created for the rapporteur on the, for the UN Special Rapporteur, yeah, about how the tech sector is basically tied to Israel, how they are involved in illegal occupation, how the tech sector is involved in even the genocide. Another campaign that we did, and it had a lot of attention, it was about Mubi. And if you don't know Mubi, it is basically a streaming service like Netflix for indie movies. And they got a big investment from Sequoia Capital. And the reason why we thought that we needed to do a campaign was not only because Sequoia is involved in Israel's illegal activities, but also because the CEO of Mubi, you can see him on the right side of the picture. He was basically downplaying, or he is downplaying, this collaboration with Sequoia Capital. So that's why it was relevant to do this campaign. Also a campaign on Google. They are involved in Israel's genocide, occupation, and tied to the Israeli military in many different ways. I mean, all these blogs are still out there, so you can read all of them on updates.techforpalestine.org. I think on the next slide we have another 2 or 3 campaigns that we want to highlight today. Also a campaign on Wix, because Wix is a very popular content management system for websites. It's super easy to build your websites. To be honest, before I knew that they were in Israel, I built dozens of websites on Wix, because you can build a website in minutes. But they are an Israeli company, and even their headquarters is in Israel. So we wrote down in an article, basically what they do and how you can migrate away from Wix. Another campaign that we did last year was the one about Vercel. You can see the CEO of Vercel in the picture smiling next to a war criminal. And Vercel is it's a very popular tool. There are many alternatives for it, and we thought the world should know that they shouldn't work together or shouldn't use Vercel. We also often receive requests from other NGOs, other organizations to endorse their campaigns, not always tech related. And basically, we do that whenever people ask us to do that. And one of the campaigns that we also endorsed last year is I think this one, Game Over Israel. It was about football. So whenever you have something that you want us to endorse, just reach out, because we're happy to do that. And this month, I also have the pleasure to do the partnership update, because my colleague Eva is not here today. So we are mainly going to talk about Entrepreneurs for Palestine. And if you don't know them, Entrepreneurs for Palestine, it started as a project in our incubator. And last year, it became a core part of Tech for Palestine. So it's something that we do in-house. It's a global collective of entrepreneurs who are aiming for a free Palestine. We are talking about all kinds of entrepreneurs, so CEOs or founders or managing directors from tech companies, consumer brands, fashion brands, all kinds of companies who are basically, who have sympathy with Palestine. And E4P is basically a collective where they come together, they mobilize each other in many different ways. What we are basically doing is building a parallel world, right? A more ethical world. And that's why we need something like E4P. And Eva is running that. And she, if you look at the right side of the screen, she did an amazing job last year, because She scouted more than 300 members in almost 120 different cities, almost 50 different countries. We did a lot of webinars, workshops, and even a lot of in-person meetups all over the world. And I think the speed networking calls, I think it's good to highlight that one, because that's where Entrepreneurs for Palestine, where they really get to know each other and where synergies basically start. We also had an event last year in London in Palestine House. I was not there. I'm still suffering from FOMO, even though the event is already over. But it was a success with a lot of professionals from the tech ecosystem joining the event. And we had some great speakers who discussed tech-related stuff about Palestine, tech for Palestine, but also tech from Palestine, and tech that is built in Palestine. And that is exactly what we will also discuss at our summit, which will happen very soon, less than 2 weeks, January 24th in San Francisco Bay Area. I'm not sure how many tickets we have left. If anyone else from the team knows.
I believe we have less than 100 left.
Less than 100, okay. And I know from last time that it was going very fast. So if you want to join, make sure that you get your ticket very fast. If you're not in the US or if you can't go, we would really appreciate it if you can spread the word, because it's going to be awesome. And I think now I have to introduce.
Sorry, but let me just interject. Because the London gathering is only 100 people, 100 tickets probably sounds bad, but we're actually going to have 500 people at the San Francisco summit. So we've sold about 4/5 of the tickets.
Oh yeah, that's important to know. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah. Thank you, Afzal, and thank you all for being here. I'm Azza, and yes, like Tom said, we have over 400 people signed up already. Very exciting. So if you haven't bought your tickets yet and you are in the Bay Area or can travel there, please do. Excited to see you guys. So volunteering at T4P, it's also been a busy year for us. I think as you can see from all the increase in activity and projects we've taken on, we've had over 1,400 people sign up to volunteer just in 2025 alone. We have a little over, I believe, 4,000 volunteers in our database that are signing up and want to help and support us. We started off in 2024 supporting 25 projects, and we are now at, like Tom said, close to 80. These numbers are evolving by the day. So lots of work to do, lots of projects, lots of ways to get involved, and we'll talk more about that. I'll also cover a little bit of some of the things we've done on the volunteering side to help evolve the infrastructure and scale as we continue to scale and get interest from all over the world. We've done a number of things to help make the matchmaking process. So when someone wants to volunteer, we know how to best use them based on what they're interested in, based on their skills, based on their time, language. There's a lot to factor in. And so we've taken some time to make some updates to our submission form so we can better gather the information we need to help place people faster. We are now tracking all kinds of skills so we can make those matches efficiently. We've done some stuff with cleaning up our database. We've also are in the initial stages of setting up a verification and vetting process to ensure we continue to maintain a safe community. and we know who we're working with, and when we match people, we can do so in confidence. We have done a number of things to better improve the volunteer experience, and there's still more to come, and we'll talk more about that. We have an onboarding team that is dedicated to helping reach out and engage with volunteers. We started doing volunteer informational webinars so volunteers know how to get in touch with us. We're trying to proactively reach out to volunteers when you submit an application, contact you so we can figure out how to best place you and give you ideas and options to stay engaged. And we also launched micro volunteering just recently, maybe about a month ago or less, and we've had some really good success with that so far. If you haven't joined the Mighty community on Signal, please do. We can send you that information. It's a way to just, if you don't have a lot of time, or if you're interested in just kind of figuring out what you can do on a weekly basis that helps move the needle, supports projects, gets the word out, amplify messages on social media. It's a great community to be a part of. But there's still a lot of work to do. You know, in 2025, we've probably placed roughly 300, maybe a little bit more, on projects or activities, whether it's short-term, long-term, or just user testing type of activities. And it's still really just a fraction of the volunteers that say they want to help and are signing up. So I think the big work for us to do in this year is figure out how we better activate our base and all those that are truly interested and have the time to support projects and help us accelerate what we're doing. And I think Paul will talk more about what's coming ahead.
Lovely, thank you, Azza. So, as you've seen, we've had a very good 2025 from an organizational perspective. In 2024, we were getting off the ground. In 2025, we really leveled up what we were doing in terms of supporting projects, and we grew the amount of projects that we're able to support. And we've been looking very much at how can we scale this even more. And our 2026 started off internally with a reorg. I've been in 15 meetings in the last 2 weeks that are dealing specifically with the reorg. And what we are trying to do is essentially we're trying to rebuild T4P from the inside to be able to reach another level of scale of what we were doing before. So our current level of scale was with projects. So we support 80 projects. We have about 60 people in the T4P staff, nearly all volunteers, that are supporting the facilities that we provide to those projects, such as volunteering services, which helps you find volunteers, marketing, which helps do launches and increases our name so that we can help the projects as well. Things like grants and strategic advice, mentorship, all of that is done through T4P staff. And then we have the projects themselves. The projects we help scale up by getting them specific volunteers. So you put out a job description and the volunteer team finds you a volunteer to fit into that. And those have been very successful. We're very happy with how those have gone, and we're going to continue scaling them. But we've also identified that sometimes there are things that we would like to do as the T4P itself. And sometimes we really, volunteers come along and they don't want to wait to be put into a job that one of the projects may have 6 months down the line. People are looking to do work now. And so where we're evolving is that we are creating essentially internal projects in T4P, and we're creating dozens of them. We're working on it at the moment, creating those dozens. Some of them are going to be a reorganization of how we do the internal work. So if you want to get involved in, doing the grants for projects, or you want to get involved in writing our cybersecurity policy to how we protect our T4P websites and assets. That sort of thing is being committeeized. But we're also starting up new things that we've wanted to do for quite a while and that haven't come along in project form in quite the right way. That sort of thing, we are going to be starting these internal initiatives and doing them a lot more under the T4P banner rather than the project banner. And we're still going to be supporting projects. We love projects. And a lot of the committees that we're going to be doing are going to be supporting projects. Things like Upscrolled and Thora, for example, need a lot of spreading, and we'll have internal committees that help get them across the ecosystem, maybe help do outreach to other digital rights organizations who need this sort of thing. So we're going to be doing a lot of that support for projects within committees, and then we're going to be doing that sort of committee work itself. And then as part of that, we are creating, and this is the part of it that's a little bit earlier, a little bit more experimental. We don't know exactly how it's working, and we're still in the early stages of figuring out what it is, but we're creating a membership model. And membership is, up until now, people have been in our Discord, they've been in our orbit, they've followed us on social media, they've donated, but there hasn't been really something that is, we are part of Tech for Palestine. And that sort of thing is really, really useful. One, it allows us to say, we represent this number of people rather than this number of people came into our Discord once upon a time. It also allows us to scale up the financial side of things, and it also enables us to help individuals get involved directly. So when you sign up to be a member, we are going to help get you involved to whatever capacity you're able to get involved with. If you have a couple of hours a week, many hours a week, and you want to get involved in these committees that I mentioned, if you want to advise these committees, you want to do a little bit of work in these committees, we will sit you down with someone on the phone if you're a phone person, or via some sort of method if you're not a phone person, where we can help you get involved in the committees. We'll go through the list of options, but also we'll sit down and we'll provide the capabilities to make sure that you're fully boycotting in every way you can. There'll be we're still working on this. We don't know exactly what it's going to be like, but there will be some form of onboarding where members can really be brought through the process of making sure that they boycott everything they can, that they help their companies to boycott things where possible, that they help their companies to hire Palestinians or hire activists where possible. And so you can see a lot of the things I'm talking about here are things that are being done by projects, right? Or that are being done by the existing projects we have. T4P's membership is really intended to scale that up and to take us to the next level. We'll be doing a bunch of stuff internally, continuing to support the external stuff, and it will be ways to enable you to get involved much more directly and much more quickly than we've been able to do before. So our hope is that we get the first the first members onboarded maybe this month. Probably it'll be more like February. So consider this not any sort of launch, but more of a letting you know what's coming. I think we are going to soft launch it at the summit on the 24th in the Bay Area. So I hope that we will get a backlog of people who want to become members, and then we will hopefully work through them in February, March, and get it to the point where we have a lot of these committees that we've been creating staffed, getting people to work, and really enabling a lot more people to support Palestine, to support these liberation initiatives, to support advocacy work, and to do all the things that Tech for Palestine has been has seen the need for, and really just get a lot more people doing that work. So that is what we are planning to do in 2026. I think it's going to be a super exciting year. we have a lot to do. There's still, the situation in Palestine and Gaza, is worse than it has ever been. And so now it is very much, time to get involved, time to be able to push forward on these things. And we are hoping to enable that in 2026. Now we're coming up towards the end there. We have some opportunities to ask questions. So, and I see some of the questions that have come by. So wherever you are on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Discord, we will be answering those questions. The other thing is, Tech for Palestine at the moment, maybe this will change once the member model properly kicks off, but at the moment, T4P very much values donations. It is very, very helpful to be able to do more. We have a number of full-time staff that we have, and we want to scale that up to be able to do even more. So if you're looking to donate, please go to techforpalestine.org/donate and consider monthly donations. Those are super, super valuable. So looking at some of the questions that people had, there was a question about enhancing Discord. So let me scroll through and see if I can find that one. We know that our Discord has been a little bit noisy, let's say. We are actually looking for some volunteers to help improve our Discord. So if you would like to do that, go to the volunteer page and make a note. Oh, here it is. Is it worth cleaning up the Discord space? It's incredible space, but can feel cluttered. Yes, we would very much like to do that. We have had many ideas. We haven't really been able to follow through. So having someone who can own that or really, dig into that would be incredible. That'd be super helpful. I see there's also a question for merch. We would like to do merch. We tried to kick off a merch thing last year, and I think the person that we tried to bring on didn't show up, which is one of the major issues we've had that is leading us towards the member model. So I think we will make a merch committee, and we will staff it, and hopefully we will have merch in the next few months. Is the T4P Summit going to occur annually? The T4P Summit, I think, will occur a lot more than annually. It takes us about 2 to 3 months to prepare a summit. So anywhere that people want a summit and where we think that there's an audience and where we have, and this is crucial, someone on the ground to put it together is somewhere that we can have a summit. So the London Summit was really put together by volunteers. The San Francisco Summit has been put together by an incredible volunteer who's done, the vast majority of that work has been really, really fantastic. I have really not been involved in these at all. It has been all the volunteers, and it has been really, really impressive to see them put it up. So I think we are going to have more summits. We were going to start a New York City summit, but unfortunately the person who was interested didn't follow through. So we are still interested in having a New York City summit and other cities. I think we are looking at setting up a MENA summit next. Someone asked Chicago area, Boston. Sure, those are all possible. What we need is someone who's capable of putting together a summit, who is able and willing to do that. Some other questions that have been coming in. What happened to Sine? Why did it get taken down? I don't know. I don't remember what Sine is. In the very early days, we created channels to liaise with other projects in the ecosystem. And so I hope we didn't give you the impression that Sine was a Tech for Palestine thing. I think that was one of what we called community projects at the start. But I don't know what happened to Sine. There's a question here about rally on USA politics projects. T4P is very careful about getting involved in projects. Getting involved in politics, because that's not something you're supposed to do as a charity in the US, and we are a registered charity in the US. There are things we can do, and there are things we can't do, and we are very careful to make sure that we stay on the right side of that. So Wallace, I remember your project on the elections may or may not be possible to do within T4P now. I couldn't tell you, but we'll see how those things go. Yeah, there's a question about the projects outside of T4P. So you can go to techforpalestine.org/ I'm pretty sure it's /projects, and all of our projects are there. There's 70-ish projects. Links to the website, links to the Discord. We're actually planning on greatly increasing the amount of information that we have there. It has taken time to do that, but again, if you're looking to volunteer, start a committee on that, we will have the capability of doing that very soon. And that is all the questions that I have noticed. So if I'm just scrolling through to see, did I miss anyone's questions? Oh, there's one here. What's the best way to join the cohort of community launches? So if you want, if you have a pro-Palestine project and you want support from us, that is what the incubator is for. So you apply for the incubator by going to techforpalestine.org/incubator. You apply, there's an interview, and then we help you. And that includes, launching, that includes working with existing existing projects, that includes getting our volunteers, being listed on our sites. So if you have, and actually there's a lot more than that, we connect people to projects and all that sort of thing. It appears the audio is gone on Discord, so apologies. Fortunately, we are at the very end and there isn't anything left, so you won't have missed anything. But yeah, thank you everyone who is still able to hear for coming. Apologies for the audio issues. Hopefully we will have that sorted next time. And looking forward to see you next time. I think it's going to be the second Wednesday in February. And looking forward to seeing everyone there. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks.